Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and today we're gonna talk about my TBR. I have a ridiculous TBR, as I always bitch and moan about. I'm always complaining about how big my TBR is, as I am like hauling 20 books a month. So the time has come. I am planning on tackling my TBR. I'm finally going to get this thing under control, or at least start to get it under control, because it's just becoming a little bit overwhelming, and I want to be one of those annoying people who has like 3 books on their TBR, because that would be awesome. So I have kind of a plan, sort of, for this. I have like some notes of things that I thought would be like good to do. I don't know if I'm gonna succeed in this, but I'm gonna try really hard because I have so many amazing books, and at this point I've culled books enough to know that the stuff I've got on my shelf I am really gonna love. It's all stuff that I really want to read. I just don't have the time. So this is going to be my method of trying to read a little bit more, target the books that I know I definitely want to read, and make sure that I am not reading things I don't want to read and am not enjoying. So first up is going to be unhauls. I'm going to unhaul books a little bit more often. I may do more Trash My TBR videos if you guys are interested in those. I posted an unhaul video in December, I believe, where I got rid of like 50 books. The charity shop down the street thinks I'm absolutely mad because I keep bringing in all of these books for them, but I'm sure they're very happy about it. But I do come in with like me and Scottish husband with like 3 tote bags each. But I'd like to get rid of more books that I know I'm not going to read, I know that I'm not going to like, or that I have DNF'd. So I think I'm gonna do them seasonally. I think I need to do 4 unhaul videos a year and, you know, show off everything that I am getting rid of, and maybe if I do a Trash My TBR type thing, you guys can tell me if there are books that are worth saving there. The next thing that I'm going to do to tackle my TBR is start reading in more of a mix of formats. I'm really focused on my physical TBR. However, I am also a sucker for ebook sales, and I have fairly recently, within the past year or so, really gotten into audiobooks. So I would really like to kind of combine those things, and I would like to maybe read up some of the duplicate copies that I have. I have a tendency to listen to audiobooks while I'm doing kind of mindless things that I don't really need to like dedicate my entire brain to at work, and I also tend to read my Kindle at night before bed because I can just kind of curl up on my side and it's backlit. So I think that I'm going to start reading some of the books that I do have duplicates of on the shelf or in another format, and that's going to help me get my TBR down a little bit, especially if they're backlist titles that I don't necessarily have immediately jumping to mind. I think that this is also going to really help with reading slumps. I have a tendency, and I'm going to do a reading slumps video at some point with my tips to get out of them, but I have noticed that I have a tendency to kind of get into a little bit of a slump if I'm only focusing on one type of format, or I found that I can kind of start breaking the reading slump by picking up books in other formats. So I think that's going to be super helpful to know as well. The next step is to get my review requests under control. Now, this is a super privileged stance. I realize, being a booktuber and book blogger in the UK, I do have access to lots of review copies, whether they are on NetGalley, which is for digital copies, or being sent physical books by publishers. The problem is that I get incredibly enthusiastic, which I think is really easy to do, and anything that sounds really good, you know, want to click yes. You want to help promote that book, especially if it's a new author, or, you know, an author you think that the thing that they've written about is really innovative or whatever. But the reality is that I work full-time. I don't have a chance to read everything that I want to read. If someone wanted to pay me to read full-time, I absolutely would, but that's just not the reality at the moment, so I just don't have the time to read every single review request that comes through. So I'm going to start cutting down on those, really making sure that the stuff that I'm requesting is like the things that I really desperately want. In addition to this, I want to get my book buying under control, another super privileged position. I have a really good job that allows me to spend a lot of my money on books and on new books, and I also have the ability to have a book delivered to me next day via Blackwell's or via, you know, Amazon or Waterstones or whatever. But I would really like to get my book buying a little bit more under control, especially because I have 3 major book buying and book hauling periods per year. That would be my birthday, which is in June, YALC, which is the Young Adult Literature Convention that happens in London as part of Comic-Con, and Christmas. And between those 3 times of year, I get to pick up lots of things that I really want, whether they're gifts or things that I'm buying myself. So in the in-between periods, I would like to be buying many fewer books and also turning to the amazing used bookstores in my town or, you know, in other nearby places. I'm still gonna buy books, like realistically. I'm not gonna immediately stop buying books, but I have stopped going into bookshops and just having a little look around, because when I'm there, I can't resist. Fortunately, I don't love buying books online. I don't like browsing for books online, so that's not really a huge problem. It's the spontaneous bookshop trip that really gets to me. Also, I have decided I'm gonna stop pre-ordering books as much because I unfortunately have been burned a lot by books that I've pre-ordered that were super hyped up without anyone actually having read them. See Wicked Saint last year and others. And I feel like I'm only gonna start pre-ordering books that I know I'm gonna love or that sound really, really particularly interesting to me. I think that's gonna help a lot, and also it's gonna help a lot with me not buying into the hype and then ultimately being disappointed. I also want to be a little bit more aggressive about DNFing books. I am actually pretty good at DNFing books, and I have a video about DNFing that I'll link down below that I did last year. So this is something that I don't have a problem with, but I would like to be a little bit more aggressive and going for, as I talk about in that video, the soft DNF, where I feel like maybe I would like this book at a different point when I'm in a different mood, and I have a couple of those from January that I'll talk about in my wrap-up. So this is something that I've already started implementing and it's going really well. And then finally, I think I'm gonna try more challenges and themed reading and readathons, stuff like that, that will encourage me to maybe break out of the box a little bit and read stuff in my backlist, stuff that's not necessarily new releases for 2020 or even 2019. I have a couple of ideas written down. So one of them being the try a chapter challenge, in which you, is pretty much what it sounds like, you read the first chapter of a bunch of books that you think you may be interested in, which sounds like it could be promising. Small personal kind of themed readathons, so either weekend readathons or a 24-hour readathon, or as much of a 24-hour readathon as I can do, because I cannot do stay up for a full 24 hours anymore. Maybe doing a readathon around a particular book if I'm reading something really anticipated or something I've wanted to read for a long time. More readathons, just in general. I have just posted my February TBR, which is a readathon I'm very excited for. It's a new one. And then also, I gotta finish series. I just have to do it. I have this tendency to read the first book in a series and then pick up all the rest of them. See Truth Witch, for example. I own literally all of those books, and I only read the first one well over a year ago, but I own them all. I own all of the 5th season books by N.K. Jemisin. I haven't read a single one of those. I have so many partial or complete series on my shelves. I haven't finished a lot of them. This is something I'm getting better at, but it's still pretty dire. Those are the ways that I'm hoping to tackle my TBR in 2020. I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to be a very, very long-term project. This is not something that's going to be sort of finished in a single year. I have some ideas planned for you guys. I have some videos that I'm going to do that'll help keep me interested in this project, and also maybe encourage you guys to tackle your own TBRs as well, because I know there are so many of you out there like me that have way too many books to read. So in the comments below, I would love to know what you do to try to stay on top of your TBRs, or if you struggle with it like I do. If you have any particular books that you have seen me talk about in the past that I haven't read yet that you think I would really love, or if you have kind of any ideas for reading challenges or readathons that you're particularly excited for this year. I post bookish content to this channel fairly frequently, so go ahead and hit subscribe, check back soon, and I will see you next time.